you all for being here, like I always do. This is your Transmute Yourself live show, and my name is Javier Peñalba. I'm your host, and we talk in this channel about topics related to fear of commitment so that you can create your own fulfilling relationships. Today, we'll be talking about something a little bit different, which is I call it Know Your True Self meditation. So I'll be guiding you in a guided meditation. But let me just describe a little bit what we'll be doing today. First, I will give you an introduction of why I want to do this meditation with you. And then we'll do the actual meditation. And finally, I will just give you some words on how to use this on your day to day, because it can get a little bit confusing. And I will try to be as clear as possible on all of this. So first, you may have heard me or maybe other people, maybe people that talk about spiritual things or meditation and things like that, that when you're engaging in different types of emotions, such as anger, or when you're stressed, when you're getting anxious, in general, when you're out of your center, that it's recommended to observe your thoughts without believing them, to observe your emotions without identifying yourself with them, and to know and feel your consciousness, your true self, this type of things, right? Other people simply recommend like know yourself so that you don't fall into those traps, right? And you live more peacefully. But it gets confusing, and I hear that all the time. People tell me like, what do you mean by that? What is all of this noise and things about observing your mind and not believing? Like, that's what we all do, right? We think and we believe what we think and we live our lives that way. And I tell them it makes total sense that you get confused, especially if it's something that we hear or something that we read in books, but it's not something where we have a direct experience, right? And that's the part that can get a little bit confusing. It's like you hear something, but you don't feel it, you don't experience it, then it's easy to forget it. And it's also easy to avoid it in order to avoid more anxiety and more thoughts because of the confusion, right? So that's why we will be going into a direct experience with all of these concepts in a practical way through a meditation. Now, for best results, I recommend you that you come open to what we'll be doing without expectations, without judgment of your progress and your process in the meditation, and trying to stay as present as possible in a moment by moment basis. Now, this can be hard, this part that I just said. It's hard not to judge, it's hard not to have expectations. And it's not that the judge will disappear, right? What I recommend though is that you observe yourself when you judge yourself. You observe the expectations and the thoughts that come, and then you come back to the meditation, you anchor yourself back to the breath, and you'll see how the present moment is simply there. So again, don't expect, simply come back to the present moment. The moment that you're judging, expecting, observe it, come back. Otherwise, if you chase it too much, you get out of that state and you also go into the future or into the past, and we come back to the same cycle, right? All right, so I hope that you're ready. You can sit up straight, first of all, with your spine erect, as straight as possible as you can. I'll be doing it also along with you. You can have your chin as parallel to the floor as you can. And you can put your hands on your lap. You can put it close to where it meets your stomach, for example, so that you have an erect back and facing upward. That shows some openness to receive. You can also put your feet flat on the ground and your shoulders as relaxed as possible, maybe lying a little bit back so that you can open your chest and your heart area. Now, don't close your eyes just yet. We'll practice a little bit of what I was saying with your eyes open as well. So simply observe around you. Observe the room where you are at. Just look around. Try not to judge. Simply be curious of what you're seeing. If you see any thoughts or anything comes, just come back to observing and connect to your breath. Your breath will be your anchor in this meditation. Okay. Now you can slowly close your eyes. You can start breathing in as you feel your belly rising up. You can hold the air for a bit, then breathe out. Remember, your breath will be your anchor anytime your thoughts come and interrupt you. You can keep breathing on your own and rest your full attention on your breath. You can feel it as if it were a wave that rises and slowly falls. And you're riding that wave. Simply follow your breath. Nothing else matters. Now, watch the space between the end of your inhalation and the beginning of your exhalation. And then between the end of your exhalation and the beginning of your inhalation. Those are great moments of stillness. You can feel that stillness in there. Now, feel your feet flat on the ground and slowly go up, feeling your body up to your ankles, your legs, your knees, your thighs, your pelvis, pelvic area, keep going up to your stomach. See if there's any emotions around there. If there's anything you're feeling, just stay there and observe it. Keep going up slowly to your chest. Also now to your arms, your hands. You can feel the energy around your hands for a little bit. The space around it. Now come to your neck. Your face. All the way to the top of your head. Now feel your shoulders and expand your awareness around them, around your shoulders, to feel the space around you a little bit. Keep staying in that space for a little. Now expand your awareness to feel the space of the room where you're at. Keep resting a bit there. Now focus on your mind for a second. It may be that it has slowed down already with what we've been doing, but if not, if it's still noisy in there, it's okay. Whatever comes is perfectly fine. There's nothing to judge. Just observe your mind with curiosity and check, are there any thoughts? If there are any thoughts, come back to your breath. Keep observing your mind. Just keep doing that for a little bit. Come back to your mind if a thought comes. Just let it be and come back. And now, if you're observing your mind, your thoughts, meditate on the question, who is that who is observing? Let the answer and realization come from the deepest part of your being. Experience that self, that observer. Get familiarized with it. Feel the stillness where it lies. This is your true self, which has been there since you were born. The one who watches through your eyes without judgment, without thoughts, immersed in stillness and deep peace. Listen to that silence that emanates from within. Now, all of that which you considered a problem, or good or bad, has been constructed by the filter of your mind. It's your thoughts or your mind's thoughts about the world and not the world that are causing your suffering. That includes your fears, your anxiety, worries, stress. Your essence, your consciousness knows none of that. It simply is. It observes, it experiences, moment by moment. Now just sit in that peace for a little while. If you feel your focus again falling away, chasing thoughts, just keep experiencing the observer, come back to your breath. Okay, now focus again on your body, on your weight, on the chair where you sit. Feel again your stomach as it rises up, down. You can slowly wiggle your fingers as you, at your own time, can open your eyes. Come back to the here and now. Okay, now you can let me know in the chat if you experienced something. If you didn't, that's totally fine as well. With meditation, it can sometimes take practice, right? For it to be something that, for you to achieve a state in which you're without many thoughts or very calm, and it's totally normal if you didn't. And if you did, great. Now, how do we use this, right, on our daily lives? And that's the big question that I get asked a lot. You see, during meditation, and the more you do it, it doesn't come that hard. Actually, it's not that hard to come into that connection with your consciousness, with yourself. It's relatively easier because you are practically eliminating all external stimuli. So without a stimuli, you have nothing to distract you, and you can, after some practice and some time, come to that state in which you're relaxed and you can feel that consciousness. The thing is, life puts you under many tests all the time. It's putting one test one time, then another one, and another one, and it's getting you out of your comfort zone very often. And it's at those times that you, or we as humans, we get absorbed on the situations and on our judgments about the situations, the stories that we tell ourselves about the people that bother us, or the politicians, or the economy, whatever it is. We focus on that, we get absorbed by that, we feel emotions about that, and then we get stressed, we live our lives like that, in that cycle. And it's part of the human experience, right? But we can shorten, let's say, the time in which we spend stressed, anxious, etc., if we come back to that anchor that I just taught you a little bit about, which is your consciousness. If you can remember that you're not the idea that you're defending angrily, or whatever it is that's stressing you out, you're you're not any of that. You are that consciousness that never changes, that was there since the beginning, is there as it is now, and it will be so later, right? So thoughts are changing, emotions are changing, news are changing, the world is changing, but your consciousness is always there. So if you put things into perspective during your meditation, for example, but I will let you know also after the meditation how you can do this. If you put things into perspective, you will realize that you're not, or your value is not determined by what you do, how you do it, or the ideas that you defend, because that changes. You can change your opinion from one day to another, right? But your consciousness stays the same, and that place is stillness, it's calmness, it's peace, and it's just observing, it's experiencing, and it's loving. It is purely love what's in there. If we can eliminate the blockages from our mind that prevent us from seeing that things are perfect as they are. So how can we use this on our day to day, right? I said meditating, that's okay, practice, but after the meditation, how can you apply this? And if you notice, I stress the fact of anchoring yourself to your breath. And that's the main point here. If you can be in a stressful situation, you're missing a train or a bus, or you are having some type of conflictive conversation with someone, and you feel your emotions rising up, and you're getting angry, you're getting stressed, you're getting anxious, you have your breath at all times to connect you back, to anchor yourself back to that consciousness that I just taught you how to identify within you. And once you can do that, even as you're engaging in life and getting stressed and getting uh, angry, for example, you will spend a lot less time again in the state, because you will see things under a new perspective, the perspective that you're none of those things that you're fighting that much for. You are your consciousness. So you can simply breathe in, breathe out, and place your awareness on your consciousness, on your essence during your day to day. You can do it even as you're typing an email and you're a little bit nervous and you're at work on your computer. You can have part of your awareness on what you're doing. You're engaged, right? You're doing what you as a human are supposed to be doing, working, etc. But also you can connect back to that self at all times. You can do it, and you'll see how you live a lot more peacefully. If you have fear of commitment, for example, and you have that urge to escape or to break up, or you start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side of the field, this type of thoughts that someone with fear of commitment may have, you can observe the thoughts. Okay, I'm getting anxious, I'm getting nervous, and you can come back to that part that's always peace, that's always stillness. Of course, you can challenge your thoughts, you can do all of that, and that's perfectly fine. But it's easier to find your answers, your own answers, when you're at peace. And it's easier to come peace and to be at peace with yourself if you anchor yourself back and find your center. Then you'll see what's true and what's just an illusion from your mind. Reality will become a lot more clearer once you can do this continuously and on a consistent basis. Yeah. All right. So I hope that this has been something useful for you. And I will check the comments. Let's see if there's anything that is here that can be of interest, or maybe a question. But that was what I brought for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Says here, to me, it's pretty hard to relax myself. I think that I need to practice it to learn it. And it makes total sense, Mariela. Practice makes perfect, right? And makes the expert as well. So on the first couple of times, it is even recommended to meditate for 3 to 6 minutes until you're stable and you can stay there for some time. Then you can increase it for a little bit more. So it's totally normal. And it's important also not to judge yourself as you're doing it, because we all have a mind, we all have thoughts. It's normal. Uh, but if we judge those thoughts and we judge how we're doing, then it becomes even harder. So simply observe the judge, observe what you're thinking, and come back. And the more you do it, the more you'll be able to do it quicker as you're meditating, and also during your day to day. You'll see how your thoughts are not racing as fast anymore. Armando says, was very relaxed and I felt very light, accepting my emotions and my thoughts. Thank you, Armando. That's very beautiful comment. Mariela says, I meditate daily and I haven't been able to relax myself, much less to fall asleep. Keep practicing, and it might be interesting also to know what are those things that are bothering you. You can also try to find the truth behind them and analyze them. But again, it's easier if you can do that as you relax. But I'd really recommend just to keep practicing, because even your brain waves start changing, and how your brain is connected the more that you do it. It may be that you don't see that much of a progress on the first days, but you'll see it eventually. All right, and the important thing is to do this type of pauses and come back to our inner self. And I totally agree. During our daily lives, we may have times in which we're, let's say, 8 hours at work, whatever it is, and we get stressed, right? And we get many situations that build up in our body. So it's very good to do those type of pauses that you're saying, taking little breaks just to remember who you really are, that consciousness that we all are, and that serves as a pressure valve. It evacuates some of that pressure, that stress. And on top of that, I do recommend not to lose sight of who we are, even as we're engaging. So not necessarily during the break, which is great, but also at the moments in which we are engaging with people, we are sending emails, we are doing, like, running around for meetings and having calls here and there, not losing sight, because then we fall again into the trap of getting very emotional the whole day, and that stress builds up. And I think that we all want to be happy and peaceful and calm, and although stress is normal and anxiety are normal, I think that we don't need to get there that much. And we can do it the more conscious we are of who we are. All right. So thanks a lot, everyone, for I love the interaction that I'm having here, and even if it's just comments. And I will see you very soon. Thank you.